Yes, I know I'm not big enough to be making this video. I know I'm not big enough to be an online gym influencer or an online PT. Yes, I've heard it all from comments, from piece of shit friends. I've been hesitant and reluctant to upload things like this for a long time because I felt like I just didn't have the credibility in terms of my actual physique, to back up. I've uploaded some gym related stuff on TikTok, mainly about my own sort of journey and my own progress and like just things that I kind of believe and feel, like most aesthetic muscles and things like that. But mainly I've been just very terrified of fully leaning into that because I feel like I'm not big enough. Despite over 2 years of work, I don't feel like I am, and I probably am not big enough to where people say, oh, this is someone I really want to listen to. I think genetically I am just kind of snookered when it comes to size. Even if what I have to say or the insights I have, even if they are gold dust, I just feel like I will never have the credibility to back it up from my own body, from my own arms, from my own chest, back, everything. And a lot of you are probably in the same boat. A lot of you are in that position where you have that disheartening frustration, where you might quickly start to realize that you will never ever be as jacked as you think you need to be or as you want to be. A lot of you might be progressing at a much slower rate than you would have initially expected. Much, much slower than people who started at the same time as you or even after you sometimes. And you might quickly have to come to the realization that you might never ever get your dream physique, or at least not naturally. And the worst part is you'll see others who do achieve that dream physique in much less time and have a much easier time doing it. For those of us going through that, it might be time to start managing your expectations, to not let it destroy you. Now you first have to find out if these cruel genetic shackles apply to you or not. Find these out so you can control your expectations and pivot what you want to do next based on those newly found realistic expectations. Now to caveat, I know I could probably get to the point that I want to get to if I had a proper military, optimized training regime, a chef, optimized nutrition and everything. But at the moment, I'm not privileged enough to be able to invest that kind of time or money into it, but maybe sometime in the future, I will definitely like to do that. And now there is a more obvious, easier, quicker alternative solution to get there as well. But yeah, I am not as big or as jacked as I need to be, and I probably never will be. So I don't have the credibility to tell you anything. So just don't watch. Turn it off, don't watch. Turn it off, goodbye. End this video now. I don't want to see anyone watching after this. And now that all the normies are gone, it's time we had a chat. Me and you. Come here. Come here, come here. You're at that point in your life that every guy gets to when he starts to grip the gaming controllers a little bit looser and he starts looking over there and starts thinking, hose, what's that all about? In all seriousness, we've all had our triggers that's taken us to the light side, bright side, the good side, made us want to start our bodybuilding journeys. Whether there was a particular creator or influencer or celebrity that you followed online or in media, or someone in your real life that you looked up to, or more than likely that one bitch that broke your heart. And it's at that point that you probably also realize that personality isn't all that matters and that nobody gives a fuck about what's inside if the packaging looks like shit. So little Moxie starts to realize that we're not all going to find someone someday who accepts us for who we really are. So little Moxie sees the lifestyle, the aesthetic lifestyle, the six pack, the abs, the pecs, the biceps, the bitches, the really meaningful, amazing relationships, the powerful relationships that you cultivate once you get into that side. Suddenly, little Moxie no longer wants to be a little insignificant beta boy who gets no play. So little Moxie walks into that gym at age 17. Lads, at this point, I wish I could say that I never looked back and I went on to grow into the big, strong, infallible specimen of a man that I am today, only blocked by Mother Nature's cruel genetic restrictions. But the reality was, the first 4 years were the most inconsistent messes of my life. Firstly, I went through phases of doing cardio because I thought that I needed to lose fat and put on muscle at the same time because I thought I was fat. Yes, guys, I genuinely thought back then that I was fat. I never went more than twice a week at any point over the first 4 years. And also I went through long, sometimes 5-month periods of doing nothing and not going to the gym. So you can pretty much throw out the window the first 4 years of my journey. I made absolutely no progress at all. And there were plenty of reasons for that, ranging from poor mindset, lack of guidance, poor messaging. Can get into that in a later video. Now, a certain 2020 pandemic came. It killed millions, ravaged people's mental health, poisoned the political discourse, deepened the divide between us to unrepairable lengths, and worst of all, destroyed people's gains. But it was both the best and worst thing that ever happened to me. So in September 2020, after months of being bedridden, I was fat. And I mean, I was truly fat. Like 17-year-old me thought I was fat, but by 21, I was in the worst shape of my life. And I knew it. I knew. I didn't need anyone to tell me. I knew for a fact that I was in the worst shape of my life and that I was so out of shape. I had an awful puffy face. Mental health and mindset were ground zero. Needless to say, social life was nowhere to be seen. No ladies or even gentlemen were queuing up to go near this monstrosity. But rock bottom was exactly what I needed. A couple of months of wallowing and grieving in rock bottom passed, and then on the 2nd of December 2020, I got into that gym, and this time it was for good. As I said, I'm not Coach Greg, I'm not Jeff Nippard, I'm not as big as Sean Fitz or Protein Boar Pappy, and my progress for 2 years may or may not be underwhelming to you, depending on what you're looking to get and where you're coming from. And this is something that so many of you are probably going to get, so many of you East Africans especially. I know for a fact there's loads of Somali brothers sitting here feeling the pain of what I'm saying. I'm just kidding, nobody's watching this. Now, the one way to train yourself to deal with it is to just look at your progress. Look at where you started from and look at where you are now, and be immensely proud of the progress you've made. Because how far you came is incredible. Think about it. Your body literally changed shape. It morphed itself into a new shape because of your hard work, and it's now more dynamic. It can do a lot more things than it used to. It can lift a lot more weight than it used to when you first started. Isn't that insane in itself? Remember when you first started and you couldn't even do a single push-up, and now you can do 15 and 20 of them in your sleep, no bother. You were so weak you couldn't even do a single pull-up. You struggled with 5 kg dumbbells, and now you're at a point where you can lift enormous weights and do so much more with your body than you could have before. That is I don't care what anyone says, that is mind-blowing. Just remember the marvel of what you've done and what you're going to continue to try doing. And I find that looking at things that way helps tremendously. Think of that boy who started all those years ago, who would have been grateful to have any muscle at all, and who would kill for the physique that you have right now. But just look at things that way and think to yourself, so what? So what if I don't have the best genetics for this and I'm not going to look like a real bodybuilder? So what if I'm more disadvantaged than a lot of the other guys at my stage who are already probably 3 times the size? Don't let anyone's words about not being as big as you should be get to you, especially not your dipshit, friends who think they're mad funny by making jokes and roasting you about it. Those friends who have nothing going for them, so they just pick at you and roast you despite all the effort you're making. I think we need new friends, to be honest. To find new friends, new people in the gym, other like-minded people in the gym who know the struggle and know what we're going through. Make your peace with your natural limits, and then if you really still want to be huge, then you can go on and invest in the other ways to help speed you up along the process. The best way to find out if you really are a hard gainer or you've just not been training right, the best way to find this out is to think back through your journey and think, have I changed up my routine much since I started? Have I actively been looking up things, actively been researching, and changed up my routine, changed up the sets, Or have I been doing the exact same rotation, the exact same routine for 2 years? Actively changing your routine, your diet, your form, looking into different things. If you haven't been doing any of that optimization and just been doing the same things since you started, then it's probably not that you're a hard gainer and you just haven't been training well. If you haven't been paying that much attention and putting that much effort into diet and protein intake, then you're probably not a hard gainer. You just need to change things up a bit, to which I say, go ahead, do the research and change up your routine, switch it up a little bit, optimize a few different things, watch videos and look at different ways you can optimize. Then you should see progress a lot quicker. Now, if you have been doing all those things and you're still struggling, then you are probably a hard gainer. Either way, hard gainer or not, it's not an excuse to stop, ever. I love lifting. I love the gym. I love the positive impact it's had on my life. It's transformed my self-esteem. Even if I never get to be as big as Johnny Bravo, it's made me 10 times as confident in how I look than I ever was before. I'm proud of the progress I've made. I'm proud of how I look now. Despite what all the cynical people want to say, I do look unreal right now, even if I am not huge. I went from an unattractive skinny fat to fat and ugly to now looking pretty decent. I'd say I'm in great shape almost, and that in itself was worth it, and it's going to be worth it for you. This will be a lifelong journey for me. It'll be a lifelong hobby, and who knows, there might even be a trend cycle somewhere in there in the future. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and like.